Have you ever felt like you were failing or like you weren't doing enough when really you were focused so heavily in one area of your life? I'm here to tell you that there is so much more than the one thing that you are working on right now. Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous dance baby, and welcome to another episode of More Than Dance. Today, we are talking about the wheel of life, the pieces of the pie, and the idea that you are not just one thing. You are a bunch of different things. You're an ecosystem of things. So I wanted to talk to you and maybe introduce you to, for the first time, the idea of the wheel of life and the pieces of the pie. So I like to say pieces of the pie sometimes just because it's one piece of the pie. And it's a wheel. And every time I mention either one or the other, it's the same concept that I'm talking about. So you get to choose which one you like better. If you like the wheel, go with the wheel. If you like the pie, go with the pie. And if you like to interchange them like I do, then go for that. So what is the wheel of life and what is the life of pie? And the easiest way to get you thinking about this is to ask you the question, who are you? I will never forget the moment that I was asked this question. I was joining this club. We've been talking about clubs a lot lately, but if you know Lori Harder, she is someone who inspires me, and I did the Bliss Project with her one time, and the first question that we were thinking about is, who are you? And I'll never forget how hard that question was to answer, because I was like, who am I? And I remember one of the first things that came to mind was, I'm a dancer. And I was like, okay, what else am I? Then I went into the relationships that I have, and just asking that question, you get such a great sense of your wheel of life. And you can also learn a lot about where you put your time and your energy. So being that I own my own businesses and work for myself, if you know, you know, it is a 24/7 job, and I wouldn't change it. It's just, it's all consuming. And my pieces of the pie are very full of dance. I have dance overlapping throughout my whole entire pie. So before we get into this deeper, I want to give you some categories that will help you. So I asked you the question, who are you? I'm curious, what came up from that? I remember when I was in the Bliss Project, we all talked and discussed our answers, and the idea of I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, even the simplistic answer of those came up. And I just remember being like, oh, that's right. There's so much to us, and it's important that we get acquainted with all of the areas that make up us. So I'm going to give you a list of about 8 things that are very commonly what make up everybody's pie. So we have our dance category. I mean, I'm just kidding. We don't all have that category. However, we do get to have a creative category. And for me, that has always been dance. We have our body, our health, our exercise category, our relationships category. So that could be your love relationship. That could be other relationships like friends. We have our career and our purpose slice of pie. We have our emotional well-being, our spirituality, our fun and play pie piece, and our rest slice. Could also be mindfulness as well. I think it's also helpful to know that you can have more than 8 slices of the pie. For example, if you want to have a body pie slice and you want to separate it between physical health and energy, you can. If you want to have a mindfulness pie slice and you want to split that up between your mental clarity and your emotional health, you can. If you want to have a relationship pie slice and you want that to be separated between you, your relationship, your love interest, and then you and your friends, and then even if you want to go a step further and you and your family, you can go ahead and do that. So you can have 8 pie slices, 14 pie slices, 16. You'll know. And there's no right and there's no wrong. There was a time where I was wondering where all my time was going. And this was after I did the Bliss Project, and it was actually more recent. It was probably within the last 4 years. And I was like, where am I putting my time? Like, where is it all going? And I remember doing this really intricate Excel spreadsheet, which actually made pie graphs. And I had made the chart so that whatever hours, I would basically do like a day audit, and I would spend time tracking everything that I did in a day. And then I would fill it all into the chart, and then it would make up a pie chart for me, and I could see all my slices. And most of my pie was black. It was like, I have a black pie. And it's because I color coded black to be the color of the studio. So I could go and I could see, oh my gosh, all my time is being spent not dancing, because that was a different color. This was strictly stuff behind the scenes of my dance studio. So I got a real glimpse into like, whoa, you're spending all of your time with this part of your life. And that's not your whole entire life. So it can be very eye-opening if you ever spent time doing a time audit, and especially if you track it in such a visual way. Because I could go down, actually, I could probably find it right now. And I could go down and I could show you how all my slices were. And then there were some in the DJ season, and then it would all be pink. I'd have like a pink pie. And it because pink was the color that I chose for KDF Beats, my DJ business. So whenever I was preparing or getting things ready or doing client meetings, mostly prep, because believe it or not, there's so much prep that goes into prepping for someone's wedding. And I'd be like, whoa, that's a big, big chunk. And then I'd often wonder like, okay, well, this is the season, and it is important for us to know that we get seasons. We talked about this in the episode on burnout, episode 31, and we also talked about it again on episode 61, is about when you're in a certain season, sometimes you do just like kick up the energy in that slice of pie. And it's one thing to do it and not know about it, because then you'll feel the depletion in other areas of your life. And if you know that that's the season, then your mind auto-adjusts and it's like, okay, yeah, but that's the season. And we signed up for this, and this is what we're doing, and why would it be any other way? So it's kind of like a conversation that you have with your actual body, saying like, hey, get on board. We're stepping into that busy season again, and you're going to be doing a lot of this again, which means we push and we pull from different areas, which means if you're going to be pushing in one area, you're going to be pulling from a different area of your slices of pie. So I think another thing, and just before we really, really get into it, is to remember that a wheel is round and it rolls. And if you have a slice missing or it's globby, it's like kind of like a flat tire. It's not going to roll so well. And you'll feel this when you're out of balance. And that might mean you haven't hooked up with your friends in a while. You haven't spent time with your family. Maybe you've been so hyper-focused on work that you've had no playtime. Maybe you're really out of touch with your spirituality and you just don't even know where to start, so you just keep avoiding it. So this is also important to know, because we've been doing a lot of episodes recently on journaling and reflection, and this is important to understand because this is going to be filtrated into your reflection, into your journaling, and you might be writing, wow, I feel so out of balance. Then with the strategy that I'm teaching you about understanding the wheel of life, the life of pi, you might be like, oh, well, that's it. Eureka. I'm missing this aspect of my life. And then you can journal about it, and then you can reflect about it. And then most importantly, you can take action about it. Meaning you can do the same thing we talked about in the episode 65 about making your goals. I want to see my friends more frequently. And then you can put things in your calendar like special dates, like we're going to go to a dance class on this date once a month, or we're going to get everyone together and we're going to go to dance, and then we're going to go to the beach. As I'm wearing this scarf right now, I am thinking about the beach. It's important to know that one small area, because we've got this big pie, we got this big wheel, but it's important to know that just one of those slices being off can affect the whole pie. It can affect your whole world. And we know this, and we see this most vividly when we experience loss. So if you've ever gone through loss, meaning loss of an animal, a loss of a parent, a loss of someone that you love, instantaneously, your relationship pie slice is deeply affected. And the rest of your life acts accordingly. You're depleted so much in that one pie that it's pulling from everything else. So that means everything else is being pulled into holding that pie slice stable, if that's even possible at a very sad time like that. And this is why we talked about interruptions, episode 32 and 33, on how much time, the stamina gap, how much time gets spent bringing yourself back to a stable area, whole area, and how to do it. And how to get back there. It's very hard. if you've ever done that. I know there's a lot of you that are so deeply dedicated to your job. And I hear about this all the time because, I'll ask someone, are you coming to dance tonight? They're like, oh no, I'm stuck at work. And we can sometimes feel like we are measuring our worth through productivity, or that we are over-identifying ourselves with one role. So it might be that, speaking of role, you might get in the role, get in the momentum of doing something that you know how to do. For instance, this is kind of leading into procrastination for a quick second. And for me, I know, and I always talk about this, I know how to clean my house. And I know how to do that sometimes better than go in and update and change things that I want to change in my website, or make decisions on photos that I want to include somewhere, or any of the deeper tasks. So the path of least resistance would be for me to clean my house. I have those skills very easily, though I probably could even take on some better skills. Though if you are the cleaner of your house, you know that no matter how often you clean it, it never feels as clean as you want it to feel. And I can over-identify in that role because it's easy for me. It's the path of least resistance. So you staying late at work, it's the path of least resistance. You know what to do. You know how to do it. You know you're going to feel productive. Potentially some of you will make more income by doing it. Some of you won't. And you don't have to face the other things of maybe dealing with rejection, or maybe dealing with a hard conversation with your boss, or maybe realizing that that job is probably not your job anymore because it's depriving you of all of your energy in your other areas. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm just getting you to think. When we forget that we are multifaceted, we judge ourselves very unfairly. If dance is suddenly feeling off, we change our entire worth based off of that. So if we had a fairly good day and we go to dance and we have a hard time, we're struggling with choreography, we will naturally think, I'm not doing well right now. I'm behind. I'm failing. All the things that we work really hard to not tell ourselves while we're at dance. Or vice versa. You might be experiencing maybe a really, really hard day with whatever you're dealing with. And then you go to dance, and then because your day was so hard, your experience at dance might be different. What we get to say, though, is one part of me is being challenged right now. How much power is that? To just, and I think this is how men are, honestly, because their brains are different than us. How? I just wonder. I don't know if you've ever seen the TED Talk on this, though. It's really cool. They talk about how men are boxes or rooms and women are wires. And they go into this whole explanation on I'm doing such and such. And then the men's interpretation is well, I'm not in that room right now. I'm not in that box right now. Whereas, oh my gosh, the way that he was almost like a comedian when he was explaining this. It was so funny. And then the woman was like, I'm inside this room and I'm thinking about this and I'm doing this and I'm getting ready to do this tomorrow. It's the way that we are is everything is everything versus one thing at a time. So if we are in the wheel of mindfulness, it's so hard for us because we're thinking about the 10 things that we're going to do tonight, tomorrow, the next day, getting the present for so-and-so, making sure it's wrapped, sending out the email, getting everyone's outfits ready. There's always so much planning, which means that we get confused with our pie slices. It's no wonder. It's kind of like Josh and I in our relationship. We work together and we're in a relationship together. So do you know what helped us and what could help you is understanding boundaries. What a great word. So if we want to build the walls up of our pie slice or our wheel spokes, I guess, we need to understand what is making up our walls. So if I'm in a dance class and I'm thinking about work and how I didn't remember something in my presentation or whatever, I didn't lift the wall up enough to be hyper-focused in my dance pie, in my dance world. Or if I'm at work and I'm thinking about how I really want to take a dance class because it's been so long since I've done anything for myself, well, I'm not getting a chance to really truly focus on the work that I'm doing because I'm so deprived in the area of friendships and community that it's being pulled into my work pie world. So for you, for this exercise, I want you to draw a circle, and then I want you to think about the aspects that make up your life. So you could use the ones that I mentioned before. I can list them again. I'll do the 8 slice. We've got creativity, dance. We have body and health, relationships, career and purpose, emotional well-being, spirituality, fun and play, and rest. And what I want you to do is write out a number 1 through 10 of a rating, where 10 is I'm really succeeding at incorporating this into my whole entire life, because we want to be whole humans. We don't want to be part humans. So if you're able to put down, okay, maybe your work is going to get a 10 because you put so much into that. Okay, so work is a 10. Where is rest? And what we do as we go down this, so if I were going to do this, I would say dance, creativity, I would give that a 10. Body, health, I might give that I'll give that like a 7. Relationships, I'm going to give that like a 9. Career and purpose, I'm going to give that a 10. Emotional well-being, I'm going to give that a 7. Spirituality, I'm going to give that a 9. Fun and play, I'm going to give that a 5. Rest, I'm going to give that a 6. So if I were to look at this for me, I would say, wonder what I could do more of. Easiest thing for me to do is find the lowest number and start there. My lowest number is fun and play. Well, that actually makes a lot of sense, because one of the things I want to bring into the next year is more fun, more spontaneous fun. So it would make sense that that feels a little bit low. And also, I've been working with this concept for a while, so it would make sense to me that like a lot of mine are pretty like aligned and pretty up there. I think also I'm recognizing this season, and right now this season isn't a fun, playful season for me. It's still very much a work season. Josh and I, we are in the wedding industry. So I'm a wedding DJ and he is a wedding videographer. And so if you caught us in the height of our wedding season, you might not see body health, relationships, you might not see those being as high as those numbers. You might see work really leading the path and being like 10 plus, maybe even 20, because we're pushing and pulling. We're pulling from other areas so that we can push harder in our wedding season. And that leads me, I already kind of talked about this, but I want to say it again. When you're in a season, things are changing. So accept the seasonal change. Some of us are about to go into kind of like a restful season because it's winter and it's where we hibernate and it's where we can enjoy fireplace time and blankets. And that means that rest is going to go up, and it might mean that something else might go down. Maybe our work numbers will go down a little bit. Who knows? Doubtfully, because in our day, we can think about our pie. In our week, we can think about the pie. In a month, we can think about the pie. In the year, and then also an overarching lifetime. So the lifetime of Josh and I together is very significant. And if we were going to rate that, we could kind of see that from now until probably the next 10 years, our work, we're going to be really cranking. And when we get into maybe years after that, we might be able to see all of this work come to fruition, and we might be able to take the gas off a little bit. So I'm excited for you to take this approach into the next year and think about how you can be full. You are a person full of different attributes. You have an ecosystem of qualities and purposes. So we have a purpose, yes, within our career. We have a purpose within our friendships. We have a purpose in our emotional well-being. So it's important for us to remember who we are. Remember that question? Who are you? To be the well-rounded, wheel that rolls, pie that's full person that you are, and to feel complete. Because when you feel complete, you're more aligned and you're able to do more things in an authentic way, which, as we know, authenticity leads to happiness because it's your truest form living outward. So I hope that this was helpful for you and that you're able to see yourself as one complete slice of pie. And if it was, it would mean the absolute world to me if you shared this on your Instagram or with a friend. Thank you so much, and I'll see you on the dance floor.